Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirkland.
Powerful and provocative, prophetic and practical,
Intellectual stew.
informative and inspirational. How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
Intellectual stew.
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
Intellectual stew with James.
All right, what's up? What it do? It's time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland, over here trying to take care of some technical difficulties, trying to help our guests get on tonight. So what's going on? Do me a favor, share this thread. Let some people, that's what I'm doing right now. And we'll get ready to get the show started in a minute. We're talking about differences tonight. A couple of differences. Oh, shoot. Differences. Let people know we're on. Tell them. Share it with a neighbor. Share it with a friend. People wait to the last. Hold on. So I'm trying to get everybody to get this set up. So what's good? How y'all doing? Come in. If you come in, say hello. What's up, Tamika? How you doing? I'm trying to help our guests get on tonight. Sometimes people can't find these emails that I send them. So let me send it again, and we'll be ready to get this conversation started tonight. My goal, y'all all know, is always to try to foster healthy communication between men and women, and that's my only goal. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about some differences. And the specific differences that we're going to talk about tonight is differences between chemistry and compatibility. So we're getting ready to get this conversation started here in a minute. And I got a friend of mine that's going to come on and talk with me. And he is a licensed counselor. So I'd like to get the professionals' opinions every now and then, and that's all we're all doing is giving our opinions based on experiences. And so I like to get those in the second half of the conversation. I'm going to bring some ladies in, and we're going to discuss a totally different matter. But I want to get as many people in here so we can talk about our lesson for tonight. This whole piece about looking at the difference between But before we get to compatibility and chemistry, let me ask you the question that was asked of me at first that made me jump on this conversation. Are y'all familiar? Do y'all think in relationships, do you all think that chemistry and energy are the same thing? Come on, let's get this dialogue. Come on, Student Nation, help me get this dialogue started. So that's the question. That's the first question I want to ask you all tonight. And if you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, say hello, let me know that I'm not talking to myself and that you all can hear me. But that's the first question tonight. The first question is do you think chemistry and energy are the same thing? Chemistry and energy are the same thing. What do y'all think about that? Like I said, I'm going to get into this a little deeper in just a minute. I say ministry because I'm saying chemistry. So I'm going to get into this in a minute, and we're going to get a little deeper with the conversation. But I want to know, what do you all think about that? as we're talking about chemistry between a man and a woman, that those, and I'll break that down a little bit more in a minute. But do you think that chemistry and energy are the same thing? Don't all speak at once. I mean, amen. I'm gonna say it like we said in church. Amen. Lights. What do y'all think? Do y'all think? Let me put the question on the screen so that way people that are coming in and they're trying to figure out what we're talking about. Let me see if I can put the question on the screen. Hold on. Do you think chemistry? I wish I could type faster. And energy are the same? That's my question to start it off. That's the first question I have for y'all. Do y'all think chemistry and energy are the same? Tamika, how you doing tonight? How you doing? Chemistry and energy. So let me go a little bit farther since y'all don't, everybody want to be quiet on me now. Let me explain what chemistry. Let's talk. We're talking about differences tonight. So here's the first one. The definition of chemistry here, according to the relationship coach by the name of Jaime Jamie. I'm sorry, Jamie Bryanstein. Is she said chemistry is energy, and it's an energetic connection you can feel. Jesus Christ. It's an energetic connection that you can feel. It's an energetic connection that you can feel. I'm keep sending this to somebody that's trying to get on the show right now, and he's having trouble. So I'm gonna send it to his email. I'm gonna send it to his voice. What you call it? His inbox. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't be telling y'all this. I know y'all don't really care. But answer that question for me. Is it? Do y'all think that chemistry is energy? Well, I kind of gave the question. Okay. Now he found it. Gee. All right. Let me work through this. All right. Finding me. So what do y'all think? It said, here we go. The definition of chemistry. Chemistry is energy, says relationship coach Jamie Bronstein. It's an energetic connection that you can feel. So when you meet someone, and I don't know who, if y'all in the audience right now, if y'all are married, if you're single, or if you're dating, but I'm sure at some point in life you have dated, and in that instance when you met someone, I'm sure that one of the things that you were looking for in that relationship was, especially initially, was to have some type of chemistry with that person. And according to Jamie Bronstein, when you have chemistry someone with someone, chemistry is like a form of energy. It's an energetic connection that's between two people, and it's something that you can feel. Y'all familiar with it? Does that sound about right? Am I on point with the whole chemistry piece? So, but not only that. So when you some of the indicators of chemistry, when you realize that you actually have chemistry, is that you might have some body language cues. And some of the body language cues, and I know some of us might be a little too old for this. I don't know if you still feel it or not. Uh, but some of the body language cues might still be. Do any of y'all ever remember feeling butterflies in your stomach when you got around somebody that you like? I know that some might have to go back some years because some of y'all might be married 15, 20 years and or been in a common law relationship for 20, 30 years, and you kind of lost that loving feeling. But do you remember when you really had chemistry? You would have like butterflies in your stomach. When you got around that person, your heart rate would kind of get a little faster. You would find yourself smiling sometimes when they're in your presence, all that kind of stuff. Might have prolonged eye contact when you see a certain individual, or possibly you find yourself finishing uh, finishing your each other's sentences, all those types of things. Have y'all ever been there in relationship before? And though if you have been there, those might have been indicators that you and that particular individual had some form of chemistry. So give me some other, what are some other things? What are some other things? Because I just gave about four or five. I said butterflies on the stomach. I said rapid heart rate, smiling for no reason at all for the most part, uh, prolonged eye contact, finishing each other's sentences. What are some other things that are indicators of chemistry. Might not even be body language. It might be something else. But what are some other things that kind of define chemistry in a relationship? What are some other things that kind of define chemistry? I'm waiting on y'all. Tell me, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Other than butterflies in the stomach, other than rapid heart rate, uh, and let's go back for those that just came on. That we're talking about chemistry. Chemistry is energy. And relationship coach Jamie Bronstein says it's an energetic connection between two people that can be felt. You can actually feel that chemistry between. Oh, okay. Tamika says that when you're around somebody that you have chemistry with, that you might start to feel anxiety around that person. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think I can. Been a long time. Did y'all hear the extra O's that I put into that statement right there? But it has been a long time since I've been around somebody and they made me feel a certain type of anxiety. Yeah. And what else? There might be a certain type of nervousness. You might have practiced, there might be a certain type of nervousness when you're around, but we're talking about chemistry. So chemistry, so that means you kind of got a gel, or you kind of got a mesh with that. So when you have chemistry, those are some of the body language cues that you might feel. You might have butterflies in the stomach. You might have a rapid heart rate. You might find yourself smiling. You might have prolonged eye contact. Tamika said that you might feel some form of anxiety. You might find yourself finishing each other's sentences. You find all those things going on whenever you're starting to feel some form of chemistry with someone. Now let's talk about chemistry a little bit more, because sometimes, and I today when I was doing my research on this, and I did do some research on this today. Hold on, thinking same thoughts, go out and they have same color, and yeah, oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. Let me put that one on the screen. That's a good one, Lori. She said, thinking the same thoughts. Didn't even plan it. But uh, you show up at the house, um, and then y'all got on the same shade of blue, or two different shades of blue, or he got on a pinstripe suit and she's matching, whatever. I'm joking. That's good though, Lori. That's a real good one. She said you also you picked out the clothes without even telling them. Didn't coordinate the color, didn't make any plan, but all of a sudden it's a chemistry. And I think it's not only is it a chemistry type thing, but it's also a syncing. I don't know if it's a syncing of the hearts, or it's a commingling of the minds, but it's an energetic connection where the two people just feel each other. They just feel each other. I'm gonna get into this a little bit later on. Some of the conversations that I had in my inbox, and that I had on my wall earlier today. But I'm definitely going to get into that in a few minutes. But yeah, those are both really, really good things, and we got to make sure that we really, really understand what chemistry is, because some of us equate. Here it is. Let me put this on the screen too. But some of us equate chemistry to heart pounding, an energetic feeling that people get when they first meet someone that they click with. It's a they look at it. What's up, man? How you doing? We're talking about chemistry versus compatibility and energy tonight. So we're gonna get into that a little bit deeper. But many of us equate chemistry with the heart pounding, energetic feeling that people get when they first meet someone that they click with. And what Karen Bridboard is a Gottman certified therapist. What she says is, when we find ourselves like that, where we kind of have our, where we start getting that heart pounding, energetic feeling, that's not actually uh it's not actually chemistry, but she said what it is it's actually a term. And I just learned this term today, so y'all got I'm working with it today, so y'all pray for me. But but I just learned this term today. But what that term actually is limerence. Did any of y'all know that word before today? Did any of y'all know that word limerence? I didn't know it. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a new one that I picked up today. But she said that when it comes to chemistry, that chemistry and limerence are really like kissing cousins. They're real close. And what we do is we confuse limerence with chemistry. Let me give you a definition of what limerence is. Here it is. Limerence is the state of being obsessively infatuated with someone, usually. Hold on, I got my guest has arrived tonight. Let me get him. Hold on. Doc, are you there? Hold on. He said he was there for a hot second, but he ran out. All right, so let's keep going. Limerence is the state of being that is the state of being obsessively infatuated with someone, usually accompanied by delusion. Here it is, by delusion by delusions of or a desire for an intense romantic relationship with that person. Okay, so let me pull this off the screen, and I'm gonna bring in Dr. Evans. Hold on one second. Dr. Evans, how you doing, sir? Can you hear me? Take yourself off mute. There you are. Now you're off mute. You there now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. That stentorious voice. Let me turn your volume. You almost hurt me with your volume. How you doing, man? I'm praying for your member too. Is everything all right there?
It's still a critical condition situation. So we need prayers.
Okay, gotcha. We're definitely gonna be in prayer. And I appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule, especially in this moment, to still keep your word and come on the show tonight. Let's give us a little background. This is Pastor Rayfield Evans. He's of the Southside Baptist Church in Columbus, Mississippi. Not only is he a pastor, but he was also married for 31 years. And he also, tell us about your professional career as a counselor, sir.
I started in October of 1992. Did a lot of direct service provision type of work, seeing clients, families, children. Then in 2005, entered administration. And in January of this year, I became the executive director of the agency that I've been working for the past 30 years.
Wow. And how many people do you have under you now as far as counselors?
About 300 staff altogether. We cover 7 counties here in Mississippi, and about a $24 million budget.
Gotcha. Tell us about your educational background as it relates to counseling.
Got my undergraduate at the University of Mississippi in Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Yeah, and that big red, white, and blue behind you, sir. That's what you're talking about?
Yes. And then my master's from the University of Mississippi State University, Mississippi State, Starkville, Mississippi, where.
And you got what? And you got your master's in what?
I got my master's in vocational rehabilitation.
Okay.
And reason being, just gave me more options to go into the, rehabbing individuals to re-enter the workforce, and can provide the one-on-one counseling and all those other services.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you, like I said, for jumping in on this conversation. I hope I didn't take you outside of your comfort zone, but I guess having been a husband and having been a father, and having been participating in relationships, you can definitely relate to this and teach us a whole lot as it relates. So what we've been talking about tonight, and I sent you the slides, but we're talking about differences. And for the first half of the conversation, we're talking about the difference between compatibility and chemistry. Mm-hmm. Now, when this conversation initially was introduced to me, the question was, and I'm going to ask you this same question to get us started. Do you think there is a difference between chemistry and energy in relationships?
Chemistry, the initial attraction that a person has for themselves towards someone else. And then to me, energy equates effort.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about the effort that a person gives to get to know the person, to maintain well, to establish and then maintain the relationship, that's where I see energy. Um, I know, and I know some may look at energy as just what you share between the two of you or the two individuals, but that's on the chemistry side of it.
Okay. Okay. Because
So,
because the thing that confuses me, Doc, is we live in this age now where everybody is talking about, your energy is off. You know what I'm saying? I don't get good vibes from you,
yes.
and they use all of these types of terms. So when they start talking about, and that's why when they first see it, when I first was introduced with the topic of chemistry versus chemistry and versus energy, I thought they were one and the same, but then when you brought up that whole piece about the effort aspect of it, and what do y'all think about that in the chat? Do y'all think that chemistry and energy are the same? Now, before you got on the show today, Doc, I gave one of the definitions of chemistry, and the chemistry, and Jamie Bronstein said that chemistry is energy. It's an energetic connection between two people. So that kind of answered the
Mm,
question for me to an extent. So
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I could relate chemistry and energy as being similar, if not the same. But then when you look at compatibility,
Okay.
that changes everything because you can have an initial chemistry, but then there's no compatibility.
Okay, let's get into compatibility a little bit later on. Hold on one second, okay? So what I was explaining to him now, right before you got in, was I today in my studying and getting ready for this tonight, the show tonight, I came across a term in the article that I was reading called limerence. Are you familiar with the term limerence?
No, not right off.
Okay, that one threw me off too, because what she said, one of the Karen Bridboard, she said many of us equate chemistry with the heart pounding, energetic feeling that people get when they first meet someone that they click with,
Okay,
and she
so
said that's not chemistry, that's actually limerence.
all right, so the romantic feeling she equated as something separate from chemistry.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of the I guess the symptoms of what the romantic feeling is, because she's saying that when people say when you fall in love, it's almost like a drug, it's a serotonin and a dopamine that
Yes.
make you feel like you're on drugs, right? And she's saying that there's a part of that when you start to have those heart pounding feelings, and though and that I guess that lump in your throat and all of that, and you call that chemistry, she's saying that's not chemistry, that's actually limerence. And then she gives a definition of limerence by saying what limerence is. Let me get to it again. She says limerence is the state of being obsessively infatuated with someone, usually accompanied by delusions of or a desire for an intense romantic relationship with
Okay.
that person.
I could see that being a part of the initial interaction between two individuals. Because
Okay.
just think, when you meet someone, there may be an attraction, there may be a desire for more, but you don't know anything about the person.
Gotcha.
So it can't be anything deep because you don't know the individual. So I could see that romantic feeling, even fantasizing that there will be something more, being a part of the chemistry, but it's part of the initial interaction between the two individuals.
So you think it starts off as limerence,
Uh,
but
uh,
then
I,
and then then the chemistry evolves, right,
I
over time.
I think it's a part of the chemistry, right? That but now the chemistry can go deeper the more you know about a person. When it's a physical attraction, you notice that right away. If there's an intellectual attraction, you have to be around that person, hear that person talk. If it's some type of admirable quality that they have, you may be aware of that quality, but really you still do not know that person.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. I see that. Okay. Let me give because how when we learn a new word, they always tell you use it in a sentence, right? To try to figure try to figure, what's the etymology, what's
Uh-huh.
the origin, all that kind of stuff. So here
Yeah.
it is. So here's an example. This is the example that they gave us. It said her limerence lasted for around 3 months before she actually met him.
Okay.
Now, when I saw that, what that made me think of is in this 2023 age, right? Dating has changed. I don't know how it is in Columbus, Mississippi, but I know how it is in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And so people are really big on, let's just say, online dating.
Yes.
You have a whole lot of people who are reconnecting or maybe connecting through social media, like in somebody's inbox on Facebook, all these types of things, right? And so you start to erect and build these relationships. Have a lot of times, I ain't gonna say half time because I can't give you a proper statistic, but a lot of times you start to develop these relationships with people that you've never actually met in person,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But you start inboxing, you start y'all, and some of y'all on the listening right now, y'all can relate to what I'm talking about. But you start inboxing someone, you start text, you might exchange phone numbers, you start texting that individual. Now with this day and age, you can do FaceTime,
Right.
you can FaceTime these individuals, you can do everything but see that person in person,
Right.
and you start to develop relationship, or you start to develop feelings for this individual. And
Yeah.
so this is another question I'm going to ask you, Doc, but I'm also asking the people in the audience, and I want y'all to talk back to me, Stu Nation. uh do you think you can develop chemistry for someone that you've never met in person?
Yes, because you can be attracted to a person on paper. You can be attracted to a person through a medium such as a a a telephone app or Facebook or another social media platform without really knowing that person.
Mm.
And we see that all the time with guys who say, I have fallen in love and I'm ready to marry this person. And then you ask them question, have you talked? I mean, have you met? Do you know anything? Oh, no, we just communicate online. And
That's
all, they have a show that connects couples without them seeing one another.
married at first sight. I've seen that. That's
No, no,
crazy.
no.
Not that.
No, this is one where you just communicate. You hear their voice, you get to talk with them. So look, they take away the physical attraction. So you have to be stimulated in another area in order to bond with that person. So there's all types of approaches that we have out there, but still it goes back to it's infatuation or a very superficial feeling because you do not know that individual.
But you know what, man, and I hear that. I mean, I'm not discounting it at all because I probably have seen it happen before. But my thing is, they got different levels of chemistry. They got advanced chemistry in school. So there's a higher level of chemistry. So my point is, I'm not, I've seen people get married. I've known people to get married through social media and all that kind of stuff. But I just question that the level of the foundation of that chemistry going forward. Because I ain't gonna lie, I've met people through the inbox. We might be talking, texting, all that. We're not talking on the phone, but texting, all that kind of stuff. And then I hear their voice. I'm petty. I hear their voice. Their voice a little too froggy for me. All that chemistry gone at that particular moment. I'm done, Doc. I'm out. I ain't got the voice too deep. I'm laughing, but very serious right now. You understand what I'm saying? So I question how much chemistry can you really have? And y'all in the chat, help me with this. Y'all know people who've met through social media. Y'all know people who have met, who started relationships before they actually met. All those types of things. Have you seen those relationships work? Have you seen those relationships work? And do you think that's a good foundation for chemistry? I know it's case by case. I know it's subjective. I get it. But go ahead, Doc. I see you about to start. Had something you was about to say. Go ahead.
But when I in this social media age, we will see it more, and I think whether or not they last will be the test of time,
Okay.
because just you can't stay where you meet in a relationship, but it
Yes,
has
sir.
to be deeper. So if they find a way to go deeper, there's a possibility. But if it cannot survive at the superficial level.
I can see that. I can see that because and you know what I think sometimes it's harder. It's easier to talk to a stranger. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think sometimes you'll share your heart with someone that that don't that you don't have to see face to face. People in the Catholic faith, they go talk to a man in a booth that they
Yeah.
can't see his face behind a veil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they share their most intimate secrets, right? And with faith and with social media, and I'm gonna read y'all's comments here in a minute. What's going on, Teresa? Uh, what's up, Quinn? When they see it's sometimes I think it's easier to talk and you divulge so much. I know I've told things to people and my mind might have changed after I said what I said, but they still hold me accountable
Yeah.
for what I said because as I got to know you, I might, that's like someone in a relationship saying they got was thinking about getting a relationship and they say that, I got a list and this is my list. But then you meet somebody and they don't meet all the criteria on your list, but y'all have chemistry. And now you ready to put that list in your pocket and make a paper airplane out of it because the chemistry trumps it. Hold on, let me see what Quinn's. Let me read Quinn's comment. Quinn said, "If I can't touch you, it's weird. I don't know what kind of text game or phone game you may have that make anybody feel different. I have long-term internet friends, but never dated without seeing." Okay.
Okay.
Tamika said she knows somebody. I'm sorry, I'm wrong one. Tamika said, I do, and she's married to him. They're 5 years married. Okay.
Yeah.
And Tamika, I'm asking a question. At what age were they when they met? Were they in their 30s, 40s? Don't give me the exact age, but were they in their 30s, 40s? Were they further along in their maturity? Had
Yeah.
they been divorced? Because I think that would also make it because I ain't gonna lie, at this stage of life, I kind of know what questions to ask. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes.
So I mean, and I know what questions to ask to kind of expedite whether or not this is gonna work or not.
And
Go ahead, Doc.
the answers to your questions.
Oh yeah, oh
Meaning
yeah,
you have done self-discovery, sometimes through trial and error, success and failure, and so you have learned some things about yourself, versus the 20-something-year-old who's still kind of discovering who they are.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense too. That makes a lot of sense. Quinn's and now but Quinn brings up a valid point. She's talking about the TV show Catfish, and on the TV show Catfish, uh, uh, people would put false profile pictures out. They would lie about their credentials. They would lie about all those things. And that's another thing I would be scared of. I would be afraid of. Cause Quinn, Quinn, I ain't gonna lie. One time, Doc, I gotta be transparent, Pastor. So don't send me to hell tonight. Let me stick around. I ain't gonna lie. But one time I did go on this date. Kim, I'm gonna bring my sister in. She can listen to this. Kim, you can listen. You can get on the tail end of this conversation. This is my little sister, y'all. But she's taller than me, but she's still my little sister because I'm older. But hey, Kim.
Hi.
All right. So we finishing up on this end of this conversation about chemistry versus compatibility, right? And so we're talking about the difference between limerence and chemistry. And so and it's kind of limerence is almost the idea of falling for somebody without actually falling for them. You kind of got the idea. You want to kind of have you have an idea. You desire a romantic relationship almost with somebody that you've never met before. And so I'm kind of equating that to people who meet on online dating, right? And you start meeting these individuals. Tanisha's here, so maybe she can explain this to us more. Tanisha, how you doing?
Hey, hey.
Hey, we need your. I got Dr. Evans on. He's a licensed therapist as well in Mississippi. He's high up in the food chain in the state of Mississippi. He got about 300 counselors that work for him, so he's true to this. But I got to ask you a question on the ground on another level because I think you can help me with this one. Are you familiar with the term limerence?
I am not.
Can't nobody help me tonight. All right, so limerence is not. It's kind of on the same level of chemistry, but it's not. It's kind of an artificial form of chemistry. So I'm gonna give you an example of what limerence is. Give me 1 second. Let me go back to it. Here it is. Where is it at? I mean, behind that preposition. I'm sorry. Limerence. Okay, here it is. Let me find. I'm gonna put it up on the screen, and then we'll go from there. And then we're gonna get into the other part of the conversation. All right. So This is not, he said, not chemistry. Many of us equate chemistry with the heart pounding, energetic feeling people get when they first meet someone they click with. Now, Karen Brickboard said that's not chemistry. That's limerence. But then she says, this is what limerence is. Limerence is the state of being obsessively infatuated with someone, usually accompanied by delusions of or a desire for an intense relationship with that person. Now, let's use it in a sentence. Use it in a sense. Her limerence lasted for around 3 months before she actually met him. So I brought up the example of online dating and how people kind of fall for people before they actually meet them. You know what I'm saying? And so we kind of got a little bit deeper into the conversation about at the older you get, you kind of know what questions to ask and all those types of things, you know. And whereas when you're younger, you might be just trying to, you know, you're just trying to date, you know, just trying to move around, you know, just trying. But does that make sense to you, ladies? Can y'all relate to anything I'm saying on that with regards to that? Either one of y'all.
When you say can we relate, tell me more. I'm not
I mean,
sure.
does that make sense? I mean, for instance, do you know people who've like fallen in love over like dating apps or reconnecting with people in the inbox on Facebook and all those types of things? And has that been a good foundation? I mean, and was the chemistry? Because I think the question I asked a minute ago, Evans, what was the question? Can you develop chemistry with someone you've never met in person? I think that's the question I asked. Can you develop chemistry? There it is on the screen. Can you have chemistry with someone you have never met in person? And then, of course, that can be confused with limerence. So what do you think, Kim? Do you think you can have chemistry with someone you've never met in person?
It makes me think of an example I had with one of my friends. They were dating online, but once they really thought that they liked each other, but once they met in person, they realized that she really didn't think, that person was who she, saw online. So I want to say possibly, but I don't know. I don't know of anyone that has done that.
What about you, Tanitra? You think it can work? You think people can develop chemistry with someone they've never met?
I think when you're talking chemistry, most people think physical, and it's hard to say how we connect physically if we are not physically in contact with each other. But I do think you can have a connection. I'm not going to say I'm connected to this person physically because I don't know what that's like, but I can say I'm connected. So I guess there would be chemistry, but maybe not. I wouldn't say the physical chemistry until I've actually had physical contact with them. I can think they're attractive, but not know how we actually vibe together. I remember this one guy I thought was super attractive, and I was like, oh my gosh, he is handsome. And that is not something I throw out too often. And I remember we hung out and I kissed him, and I went, oh, that was
No
such a
butterflies.
disappointment.
No butterflies, huh?
There was absolutely nothing. And
Wow.
so again, no chemistry. You had it was cool when I was talking to him. But the actual I kissed him and there was no, for the word we're using today, chemistry. So
Yeah. And I appreciate that. That's what I'm looking for. And feel free to chime in, Dr. Evans. But that's what I'm looking for right there, because I think sometimes we get enamored by what we see on the physical, and then sometimes we do the research, because you can look at the profile, Kim. You can look at the about section. You can look at where they went to school at. You can, if they fill in what their occupation is, you can do that, and you can kind of deduce your own conclusion or draw your own conclusion based on the pictures and the history. And you can look at the date and see if they were heavy set a few years ago, if they lost weight later. You can draw all these conclusions, right? But then when you meet that individual, because everybody can send a representative, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna put, Lord knows if I'm gonna put well, not me, because I'm not that superficial, but most people are gonna put their best pictures out. I'll be forgetting to pull out my camera halftime when I go somewhere I need to take a picture. But most people are gonna put their best pictures out because they want to put. But when the rubber meets the road, And it's actually time to have a conversation. And Denitra, I'm a type person, if the subjects and verbs don't agree, we ain't talking too long. You know what I'm saying? That wouldn't turn me. If you got a little raspiness in your voice, your voice a little bit deeper than mine, I don't like you anymore. You know what I'm saying? And Kim, I'm dead serious. But because I was giving an example. The only time I tried to go and meet somebody off of a dating app, real talk. And this is, hey, Evans, this is the truth. Y'all share this information because I'm going to tell the truth right now. Share this thread. I'm telling the truth. The only time I went to go meet somebody, Tenitra, it was here in Atlanta. And we talked. The picture looked pretty good on Facebook. I couldn't tell, though, because it wasn't a full body. It was kind of some angles. So it was, and we all have preferences, So anyway, and she wasn't that she, and then I've grown up, so I'm not stuck in one state. But anyway, she had the pictures, and she said, "Hey, well, let's meet up at Starbucks. I don't even drink coffee, but let's go meet at Starbucks." So I go to Starbucks. And when I look at her in the car, she don't look like the picture at all. I mean, them angles and all that kind of stuff didn't look. And so I stood beside the door and didn't let her get out. And I was like, well, I just want to come by here and see you right quick. But I got something else. I was on my way somewhere else. I said, I got to go to Kennesaw and meet my kids. So I made up something. And
James. So
you
didn't want to use Duo. I know you don't have an iPhone, but I mean, there's so many ways that you could.
I got an iPhone.
Oh, you do? You could have seen. Yeah. You could have seen her before going to Starbucks.
I'm not into the whole technology. You should have heard me trying to teach my daddy how to get try to use some on the TV last night. Trust me, this technology, I'm not the best with the whole technology, and I'm getting better with it. I know I do have Duo, and I do have an iPhone. I just don't hardly ever talk on it. But yeah, I will do that going forward. But when I got there, I leaned up against the door because in case she was like, well, hey, let's well, maybe we can get together later and go to a museum. So I said, no, we're not going to. I'm not going to a museum. I'm gotta go meet my kids. I wasn't going to meet my kids. Lord had to forgive me for lying because I lied really on that moment. I lied, but I never called her again because I feel like she misrepresented. Go ahead, Evans. I'm sorry.
Let's throw this out there. There is a physical chemistry, but now another person where you may stimulate.
You breaking up, Doc. You breaking up. You breaking up on me.
Okay.
What's happened different?
I don't know.
Oh, now you sound great. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I understand chemistry to mean different types of attraction. So it's just not a physical attraction.
Yeah, I got you.
That is just one part of it. So if you meet a person who stimulates your mind, they still may have a quality that is a turnoff to you. And that goes back to still getting to know that person.
Bless your heart. I hear you. Hold on. I got you. We got to get to this other conversation, man. And I know what you're saying. I'm gonna give those 3 signs in a minute. But here it is. All right. So this is actual chemistry versus limit. These are some limerence. These are some actual signs of chemistry. Number 1, being with the person feels like home, and you feel peace in your heart. That's number 1 I'm looking for. In any relationship that I'm trying to be in, do you bring peace? Or do I bring you peace? If we're bringing chaos, I ain't trying to confusion. I'm out. I can withdraw the right hand of fellowship with the best of them. I put it in my pocket and we'll walk away. I'm good with that. Do not disturb my peace. She also says there's a feeling of being understood, seen, and heard without the need to explain yourself. I like that. That's chemistry. That's real chemistry. If y'all want to jump in anytime, please feel free to cut me off. But there's a feeling of being understood, seen, and heard without the need to explain yourself. And then the other thing about actual chemistry is that it's an innate feeling. It's something that's innate. It's not anything that's external. You can't buy chemistry. You can't do any of those. You just got to have it. Either you have it or you don't. Now, here you are. This is what you were just saying a minute ago. There are 3 signs of physical chemistry. 3 signs of chemistry in relationships. Number 1 is physical attraction. Number 2 is intellectual chemistry. And number 3 is emotional connection. Now, Tenitra, when I put this question on Facebook today, how do you think most people rank these in areas of importance?
Ooh. I don't know. I'm going to say most people would probably say, I don't know what most people say.
Ain't no wrong answer. You won't get a wrong test. You
Yeah,
know
I'm gonna say most people would probably go with physical as the thing that draws them first. But
Okay.
then the emotional and intellectual, that's not my preference personally.
What's
But
your preference, if you don't mind me asking?
I want to know I don't know if I can separate 2 and 3.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I can't if you have those are 1, and then the
Okay.
physical would be number 2.
Well,
Okay.
now think about it like this. If you talk about emotional connection, remember a person can be highly intelligent and not be able to form those emotional bonds. So so I see them slightly different because I've known people who they were good in, let's say they were good in chemistry, good at computer, but when it comes to forming a relationship with people, there's a lot of insecurities or they just don't relate to people as well on an emotional level. Um,
Okay.
so there's some difference between the intellectual and the emotional um, connections that people may have with one another.
No,
To
I agree 100%. I'm saying for me, if I have to rank them, the emotional and the intellectual have to both be there. They're both number 1 for me. But
Okay.
I do understand the difference between those 2. Yeah.
now James, did most men say physical or was it a mix?
Most men did say physical. Most of
Okay.
us, and only 3 or 4 men answered. Mostly women answered. But
Okay.
and it was funny because one woman came and she said she didn't even answer for herself, Kim, but she gonna say most men are gonna say physical. Why'd you come in saying that? Just answer the question. That's you know what I'm saying. Anybody ask you to answer for a man, woman, just answer the question. But
Well,
what would it be for you? What would it be for you? Answer
I
for
thought that I saw most men say 2, 3, and 1.
no. Mostly women said 2, 3, and 1.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So for
Go ahead.
me, I think for just from it would probably 2. I'm with Demetria. Like 2 and 3 are most important just from past experiences for me, and then number 1.
Okay.
And I can say
And you,
for
go
a
ahead.
man,
Go.
for a man my age, 3 would be the most important, and
Yeah.
then 1.
Yeah, for me, probably 1 and 3 gonna have to be simultaneous and synonymous. I ain't gonna lie to you because I'm gonna need a little
They
one
got to
in there.
look good.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a 1A in there. You know what I mean? Cause I got to be attracted to you. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people that I'm not attracted to, and I don't care if we do have an and honestly, I'm probably not gonna know that we have an emotional connection because we never got a chance to talk like that.
Uh,
You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, if you I mean, you can have the ugliest, you can have the best book in the library that doesn't have a title on it. You know what I'm saying? But if I never picked it up, you know what I'm saying, and never cracked the pages, then I wouldn't have known how good that actual book was. And I'm sure some guys like me have missed some wonderful women, you know what I'm saying? Probably for being superficial or probably, having preferences. I'm sure women have done the same thing, for because of our list. And and I remember I did a show one time called Are Our Lists Limiting Us? You know what I'm saying? Because we have these boundaries that we want to stick within. But then there could be somebody that we could really develop chemistry with, but we won't take that chance because we put ourselves, we've limited ourselves with lists. And it might not be a limitation. That's rhetorical. So I don't want to debate that aspect
Okay.
of it. Yeah, if you got your list, do your thing. I ain't mad at you. But me personally, I'm probably going. Well, what and those in the audience, I'm gonna put it back up right quick. How would you rank it? What's your area of importance between physical attraction, intellectual chemistry, and emotional connection? Now, Karen Bridboard, she said that emotional connection is a marker of good chemistry. She said that should be the foundation for any type of chemistry, is that you have an emotional connection.
yeah.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. Now, if Kim, I will say this, so your brother ain't too bad out there. If there's a physical attraction but there's no emotional connection, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Right. Same for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I don't care. I don't care how fine you are. If we start talking and then we don't have an emotion, or we can't develop an emotional connection, then it won't last. You know what I'm saying? It might be cool for a while. It might be cool for a season, but at a certain point, I know me, I'm gonna get frustrated. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
And then with that frustration, I don't want to mess up the relationship. Now, this young lady sent this to me in the inbox, and ladies, y'all can tell me how y'all feel about this, because she's speaking for women. Now she's about in her mid-30s, but this is what she said: to be emotionally invested in is a woman's dream. from her man.
Mm.
To hear me when I'm saying nothing, to know deeply how your partner's day-to-day interactions and proper intentions can affect your behavior, and yet he can pray with and for you, keeping you soft and loving towards him and the household. She said that's orgasms to a woman, and it has nothing to do with sex.
Wow.
Emotion will always win right after spiritual, but we're not talking about the spiritual.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that, lady? Is she speaking for ladies when she says that? To be emotionally invested in is a woman's dream from her man. To hear him when this is what she said. If he hears me when I'm not saying a word, he just feels me. You know what I'm saying? He wants to know what's going on with my day-to-day interactions, and his has proper intentions can affect her behavior. Yet pray with her, and keep her soft and loving towards him and the household. Does that sound possible? Does that sound like what a woman wants from a man, or is it something else you feel like you would need with regards to chemistry, Kim?
Well, I mean, I can agree with that. I definitely want to feel safe. I think that's my biggest thing. Like I want to feel safe. So all of those things mean safety to me. So I can agree
Okay.
with that statement.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Oh,
That's
no, go ahead.
literally the word that came to my mind. I was like, when I read that, I hear safety, and that's really what a lot of women want. We want to feel safe physically, emotionally,
Definitely.
and if we're going to be honest, we want to feel safe financially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We want to feel like we can let that guard down, and we can be soft and all of those things because it's a safe place. The other thing I was thinking when we're going back to your definition about feeling comfortable with chemistry, that definition of kind of feeling comfortable and feeling safe, I think what we have to be mindful of is that you can feel comfortable with the situation because it is familiar and it not necessarily be safe.
That's
And
right.
so I think a lot of people get caught up and they say it's chemistry because it feels comfortable, because it's familiar. And then later on they look and they go, oh, we had chemistry, but we didn't work out because it was never actually a safe place. It was just a familiar place. And we have to be able to identify what's just familiar, possibly because of our own past trauma or because of our past whatever, from is this actually safe, or is it just something I'm so familiar with that
I don't want to get out of it.
I feel safe.
Give me an example of the something you're talking about.
It could literally be. I had someone recently share how they said their spouse made them feel safe, but it was because they said there was he would fight quickly. He had a temper. And so that made them feel safe because they witnessed a lot of stuff from their parents with drama. And they said, I want to make sure that the person I'm with is going to make sure that nobody fights me, that kind of thing. But when they got married, the relationship the relationship couldn't sustain because they didn't feel safe in any other area of their life except for the fact that he would fight for them physically.
Wow. That's really good, right? Evans, that was good right there, wasn't it? Because I've seen women say, actually, you know what? Because like this whole experience, me, Kim, this is like poltergeist for me. I ain't gonna lie to you, trying to get to know people. But I had a woman actually tell me, I want to know if he can fight because if we out somewhere, I want to make sure he can take care of his business. In my head, I said, "Where we gonna be at where I got to fight?"
Why do we have to fight?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, my teacher, my sixth grade teacher, Betty Bowman, told me I can make a bully back down with my vocabulary. So I don't have to fight. I can talk pretty good, you know what I'm saying, to get my way out of a situation. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, because this was a 50-year-old woman saying this, right? Or almost 50 years old. And I'm like, where are we going when we got to fight?
Nowhere.
I mean, if we go to Ruth's Chris, I mean, I hope we don't have to fight in Ruth's Chris. You know what I'm saying? Or if we go to a nice Saltgrass or wherever to a nice restaurant, because I'm going somewhere good to eat. I hope I don't have to fight at Longhorn. You know what I'm saying? And if we at church, I bet not have to fight at church. And if you start, I might let you finish your own fight. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna sit up here and set me up and think I'm gonna get killed behind you. I'm sorry. I'm like, listen, dog. Go ahead.
It is a common thing that women want to feel safe, and that can be emotionally, financially, and they want to be. You know,
Want to be what?
respected.
Oh yeah.
And those are things that we see repeated over and over again, no matter what the setting is. When you put men and women together and they talk about their needs and their desires, we hear safety for women and we hear respect for men.
Respect, safety for women, and respect for men. Okay, Kim. So with that safety piece, and I know we were supposed to be talking about something else, and we'll try to get to it in a minute. But with that safety piece, Tanisha gave about 3 or 4 different areas where women want to feel safe. She said emotionally. She said financially. I forgot what other. But is there any that are ranked higher than the others with you, Kim, as far as what areas you want to feel safe in?
I definitely think emotionally is number one for me.
Okay.
I want to feel. I want to know that my heart is safe, that I can confide in you. We can talk about anything. That we have that, that support. I have that support from him, and of course, vice versa. So emotionally, definitely is ranked number one. Um, they say financially, I want you to be financially supportive too. Not that I won't say not that I need it, but I just want us to be able to both contribute. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Th-
So yeah.
does any rank it higher for you, Tanitra? What area is higher?
You can call me spoiled. I want all of it. I would definitely say the emotional piece is important to me. I don't know if you call it safety, but like the spiritual piece as well is really important
Yeah.
to me, that I can express who I am spiritually without
Having a compromise.
having to compromise, having to compete. That's really important to me. So emotional, spiritual. Again, I'm not a person that's necessary. I'm not living in a neighborhood where I feel like I'm unsafe. I'm not going places where I have to fight. So physically, I want you to be able to, you know, lift something in the house, but that's probably a lower ranking than some of the other areas.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's really that's really both of all those are really really good. Now, but I want to talk about this because I know this isn't probably Kim. I know it's not your testimony because I know you, and I'm sure it's not a lot of people's testimony. But now in this day and age, when you start talking about the financial security now, it's sometimes it's beyond the financial security. You got some people who want you to pay their bills.
Oh,
And y'all not even married. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Y'all ain't even went on a date yet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm at a point now where if a woman's asking me what I can do for her before she's talking about what we can build together, that's a red flag. And I'm out of there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm put that hand
Absolutely.
right. I'm put that right hand back, that right hand of fellowship right back. And I'm withdrawing it. I'm look at this. I can withdraw the right hand of fellowship so good, put it right back in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of what's out here today. Even when I put this list out today, about the areas, the physical attraction, the areas of chemistry. Somebody said, "Well, that neither one of those is mine because I'm past that lovey-dovey stage. I'm too old for that. I need to know if you're financially able. I need to know if you're financially willing, and I need to know if you financially will do." I said, "Whoa." You know what I'm saying? And I get it. If that's what she wants, that's her thing. But it's a lot of people like that. And I think that's damaging a lot of relationships before they have a chance to start. You know what I'm saying? Because how much do y'all hear this conversation about 50-50 in relationships? You know what I'm saying? Not 50-50 in marriage. They talking about 50-50 in relationships. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we're being stuck on start. We're not even getting first base because we can't develop chemistry because we got chemistry killers in our conversations. What do you mean? You think, Doc, I know you 31 years in a marriage, but I know you counsel people as well. Do you find people that have some of these similar issues?
Um, not not so much in marriage, probably in dating or looking for a mate. That there are some individuals who come with that financial piece as being the piece. They're not so much into emotional security or intellectual connection. They want to know and usually it's the woman to the man. But I can say these days we see some men who go after women who are very secure financially. So for that person who looks at finances and they put that as the top priority, to me that would be a red flag if you're dating, and hopefully you won't be in a relationship with someone and feel like the only reason you're there is because of finances.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Uh, Kim, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I think
Uh-huh.
you froze. So, what are you looking for financially in a guy if you're starting the dating process? I mean, you're just what are you looking for? Are you looking what kind of car to drive? He drive to assume that he has good credit. What kind of clues are you considering?
Well, just with dating, financially, I just want to know that you have a stable job and you're able to take care of yourself. Really, not anything, with what you can do for me. I just want to know, can you take care of yourself? Because I mean, I don't mind. I'm going to support whoever I'm with, but as far as like coming out the gate, taking care of a man, I'm not interested in doing that. But if we're married and we fall on hard times, yeah, I'm going to help. But not in dating,
Gotcha.
in the beginning, especially.
That's gotcha. So let's kind of get into this piece now because we were talking about chemistry versus compatibility. And so let me give y'all this is the definition of compatibility. Compatibility is what's on paper, Bronstein says. She says this can include more logical considerations like age, race, religion, academic achievement. However, those who seem compatible on paper might not always feel chemistry with one another. And Evans, that's what you said a little bit earlier. Just because people are compatible
Right.
doesn't always mean that they have chemistry.
Yes.
Got you. Because I had a friend of mine. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he's an attorney, and he said that a lot of times when he meets women that are quote unquote on his level, and when he said on his level, he's talking about women who are in a similar tax bracket. He said even those individuals come wanting to be taken care of financially. So Tanisha, how as men, and you're not a man, I get it. You don't look nothing like a man. Let's let that be very clear and understood. As men, how would you recommend that we handle that situation?
I think you actually said something, Facebook. This was a couple weeks ago, and you said finding somebody who matches what you want.
Hmm.
And the example was if you want to date someone who believes in 50-50, go date somebody. Don't try to convince somebody. And I think the men have to do the same thing. You have to come in saying, I want to be the sole provider. I don't want my woman to pay for anything. Cool. Find a woman who says that's what I want. And as opposed to trying to get somebody to come over to see your side and you guys are arguing about who's going to pay for dinner, when in reality you could go and find somebody who says, hey, I want to pay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think men, you can just be honest. I think a lot of men, we talked about, a lot of men focus on the physical. So if you look good, I may forget some of these things. It's a lot of pretty women in all kind of tax brackets. It's a lot of pretty women in with all types of mentalities. Find somebody who matches and go be happy.
I agree. You want to add anything to that, Kim? I got you on mute. Hold on.
I
That's
don't
all
want.
right. Go ahead.
I don't. I don't want to
You
add
don't.
anything. I agree with what she said.
Okay, because that's the thing. Because like I said, so many people are leading with what can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? And that's I think that's destroying. I think that's the grasshopper that destroys the seed before the seed has a chance to produce, right? And I guess that's a good thing. If it's a red flag, it's best to find out now than to find out later, that we don't have
Right.
chemistry. But that compatibility piece, and that's what I want to ask. So Kim, do you think compatibility is more important than chemistry? Or do you think chemistry is more important than compatibility?
Well, I don't know. So when I think about compatibility, and y'all are, more in the psychology sector than I am, I think about, making sure you have the same morals, like same values. Is that along the right? So I think that is important. Um, I don't know which one is more important because I want both of them.
And
I
that's
mean,
okay.
because
That's
I've
absolutely okay.
had you know, I've had where I was compatible and we didn't, I didn't feel anything. And then I had something, where I felt, like, okay, this is a good fit, but, we found out we weren't compatible. So I'm like, I just want both of them now.
Same question for you, Tanisha. Do you think one is more important than the other?
No, I agree with Kim. I think they go hand in hand because you don't want to have, oh, we're super compatible, because you can be compatible with a roommate. You can be compatible with, you want that chemistry that which separates my partner from the average friend. But at the same time, I don't want to just be so passionate over here and we're connecting, but we really aren't walking in the same direction for our future. So I
Right.
think you have to have both of them.
What do you think?
Have to.
What do you think? 31 years. What do you think?
Well, my thoughts are it's the it's that may initially draw you, but it's the compatibility that will get there.
Yeah.
And you just have to have the commonality. You have to have shared values, and you can have all the chemistry. The perfect example: you can meet a man, you all have chemistry, but if you want a monogamous relationship, and he says, "I want an open relationship," you have all the chemistry, but you're not going to be compatible. So,
Mm.
so compatibility to me is what makes it stick together. Um, and also I've heard many people talk about, I just don't want the chemistry for at times when I really need that person to be there.
Hmm.
If I'm having to say goodbye to a loved one, the chemistry, it needs to be something more. It needs to be something deeper than just. And what we're talking here is a physical chemistry. It has to be something more. And I think every relationship that lasts, you're going to have more than just that chemistry. And so I agree with the two sisters. It's good to have both.
Okay. And that the question that was asked in one of the articles that I did my research from today, it asked Tanitria if chemistry can change over time. And the relation well, excuse me, the counselor, the psychologist that was contributing to the article, she said that true chemistry doesn't change over time or does not increase over time. But she said what happens is true love increases over time. And she said, so I think at a certain point, chemistry has to make a transition, or it has to be the platform for love. Does it make sense? And so once that becomes, well, I guess chemistry graduates to love, right? And so when chemistry graduates to love, then the compatibility is the thing that kind of keeps you. You know what I'm saying? It's the glue that makes you kind of stick and stay when you probably might not. And so that's why I want to ask another question. And I'll ask you first, Tanitria. When chemistry starts to fade, and it might, do you think love compensates for the chemistry that leaves, or that begins to fade over time?
I think the physical passion can start to decrease over time in relationships.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we may not be all over each other, but love does step in and start to, yeah, if to use your word, compensate. I think love will keep you there in the middle of that. However, I think it's important for couples to try to maintain both aspects of that, because I
Definitely.
mean, we get older and bodies change and all of that, but there still can be some physical connection. So I'm a very strong advocate in trying to make sure that you maintain a marriage outside of just the parenting or just the life part of
That's
doing
good.
life together.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. And that's where a lot of people lose it at, because they forget, they don't I like to use the analogy of managing the relation, managing managing, I call it managing the growth. That's what it's called, managing the growth, because you're gonna grow. And if you're not careful, you'll grow apart. especially when you got children involved, you got careers involved, you got so many other chaos involved, all those things that are seeking to fragment or put a chink in the armor of the relationship, right? And so you have to manage the growth. And I think one of the best things to do managing growth, number one, praying together. Number two, playing together. You know what I'm saying? You got to pray together. You got to play together. Those two things have to happen. And then once you stop doing those things, then you start to lose that connection. And once you start to lose a connection, that means you're not paying the power bill anymore. Then that light in that relationship is not going to shine and be effective like it should. And that presents a problem. So I think, Kim, do you think that love compensates when the chemistry starts to leave and you got to come back? Now you got the compatibility to fall back on.
Well, I definitely think it can sustain it. However, I feel like if things are changing, then you need to communicate to figure out what do we need to do in order to, like you say, increase that chemistry. Because like Tanithia said, you don't want to lose it. So you need to figure out what you need to do in order to keep that fire burning.
That's good. That's good. Now you brought up my favorite word and everybody's favorite word. Everybody in relationships talk about communication. But I think Tanitra and also Evans, the part people leave out about communication is comprehension. Because sometimes people are communicating with you, but because they're not communicating with you the way you're used to, or because, like, for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. I mean, and I know people don't like texting, but some people like to talk, some people like to text, right? So I remember one time my son and I were having a conversation. He said, "Dad, we don't hardly talk." I said, "Yeah, but we text all the time." He said, "True." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so my point is there are different ways of communicating, and sometimes people have to communicate the way they communicate, right? But when they communicate, and I know that the onus and I know the responsibility is on the sender to make sure that the receiver comprehends the message. I get it, all that stuff. But in relationships, especially if we got chemistry, sometimes if I'm putting it out there, I mean, take it. I've had women, they'll ask me a question, Kim. I know you probably think this don't make sense, but I've had people, they'll ask me a question, I'll answer the question, and then they'll tell me that wasn't my answer. I just told you that was I'm of age, I can speak, and I can communicate pretty good. So if I'm telling you something, sometimes if I'm communicating, go ahead and comprehend the message, because I think sometimes we try to convolute or change the message because we want the message to sound the way we want it to sound to us. You know what I'm saying? Or we trying to make the answer fit our scenario because I like him. You know what I'm saying? He looked good, and and I don't want this relationship to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But if a person tells you something, believe them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, because communication has two sides. There's a communication, but then there's the comprehension. And if there's no comprehension, then I'm gonna have to go back and reapproach. And see if I can say it another way so you can get it, so that there can be comprehension, because I just don't think communication is effective until there has been proper comprehension. So listen, we're almost through. I want to jump on this other subject real fast. I didn't know we were going to be on this long. I knew I had all those slides, so I guess if I had done all those slides, I guess I should have known that I would probably be on longer on this subject than I wanted to be on. So let me give you the second subject. Second subject. And Doc, like I said, thank you again. Pastor Evans is on tonight, despite one of his members being airlifted to the hospital tonight. So y'all, let's be in prayer for his member there in Columbus, Mississippi. I think she's in Tupelo at the hospital now. Yes. So he's had to go and check on her, but he still kept his word and jumped on the show tonight to share his insight with us. So I'm super, super appreciative for him being on tonight. Now, Doc, if you got to go, that's fine, because this next part of this conversation, we're gonna deal with another subject. This is a meme a lady sent me earlier this week. She said, "Being a female is a matter of birth. Being a woman is a matter of age. But being a lady, that's a matter of choice." I'm gonna say it one more time. She said, "Being a female is a matter of birth. being a woman is a matter of age, but being a lady, that's a matter of choice, seeming to imply that there is a difference. And I've always heard this growing up. I've always heard that there was a difference between a woman and a lady. And I said, but I've also heard the term, women say, I'm a grown woman or I'm a real woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm this type of woman. That's what a woman said yesterday when I put the question out there about the difference between a woman and a lady. She said, well, I don't know what a lady is, but I know I'm a real woman. And da 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 da. And I said, okay. So, and I remember how my mom and my stepmom, I know how they carry, and I know how your folks carried you, Kim, because we family, so I get it. So, but with that being said, I'm starting with you, Kim. Do you think there's a difference between a woman and a lady?
I've been thinking about this all day when I saw you post it. To me, a woman is a woman. I don't think that I don't feel like I have the right to call them anything other than, I mean, you're a woman. Whatever characteristics you have, that describes you. However, at the end of the day, you are a woman.
Now, let's look at it again, because you're definitely a woman. Nobody's taking that part away.
Yeah.
Woman is a matter of age.
So
Female is a matter of birth. But being a lady, okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask you, Tanisha. Let me ask you a question. Hold on, this Kim, and this you stay right there.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, Tanisha, and don't cuss me out. Well, you don't cuss, do you? You don't? Okay, good.
No.
You would admit it right now anyway, but still, I hope you don't cuss. But anyway, if someone were to say to you, and I know they wouldn't, but if someone were to say to you that that's not ladylike behavior, would you view that as being offensive? Using the term ladylike behavior, would you say, I guess 18, Shanika, I guess 18 is when you really become a woman because you're grown at that particular point. I'm guessing that. Y'all tell me. But if someone, and ladies, I'm asking y'all the same question. Y'all share this. We're gonna talk about this for about another 10 to 15 minutes, then we're gonna get out of here. But I'm asking Tanisha because she got a Confucius look on. She got a finger on her chin. So I want to see if someone says to you that this is not, and Evans, I know you've heard this statement before when talking about somebody having ladylike behavior. Would if someone said to you that that's not ladylike behavior, especially in this feminist generation we live in now, because women get in the bag, y'all are strong, I get it. But if someone told you that that's not ladylike behavior, would that be considered offensive?
For me, it would probably depend on why they're telling me that. If I'm at a game and I'm yelling and I'm whatever, and they say, "Hey, that's not ladylike," I'm not really trying to be like a lady. I'm trying to cheer for my team. So no offense.
Okay.
If I'm getting more money or more education, and you tell me that's not ladylike, well, it works for me. So honestly, I'm probably not going to be offended by any of it because that's your opinion. I'm going to do what I think is best for me. But I think when people talk about being ladylike, it's typically a standard that's arbitrary that someone has come up with as how women are supposed to act. Yeah. But you don't ever hear the distinction with men. That's like there is a woman, but we don't typically say, you're born a male, then you grow up and you're a man, and then you're what's after that?
I was wondering the same thing, but we're gonna talk about that subject probably next week. But this week we're gonna stay on that ladylike.
So I'm saying it's.
I know what you're saying. I'm joking.
Very much like an idea to get all women to act a certain way.
But
but not monolithic.
But and I agree with that 100%. But the people that I used to hear say it the most were older women.
Because they bought into it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think older women are always, and I've said that to my own child. She's sitting there with the dress on and her legs are spread out. Now she's 8 years old. And I was like, ladies don't sit like that. And I will say that to her. And she said, "Oh yeah, mama." Well, now she's old enough to know ladies don't sit certain ways. And she, even in the back seat, she'd have her legs, and I go, no, ladies don't sit like that. So I do understand that there are certain ways that we want to raise our children, our daughters to be to have certain values, to have certain whatever. But again, that's still me putting my value system onto how I want her to act. And I feel like society does that with women often.
Yeah, but and it's definitely projecting values, but it's also presenting an option. Uh, Presenting an option. It might not be the only option because the world is going to present other options. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think, I think as parents, and my baby's 19 now, and and the three and their personalities are like totally different, right? You know, one thing about me is if I go into a barbershop and everybody come out with the same haircut, I'm probably not going back to that barber. That means he's not looking at their hair, he's not looking at their individuality. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't see the wave pattern. And so I had to learn that not pastor, but parenting my children, that they're not all the same. You know what I'm saying? So I had to. So what I did was I didn't raise robots. You know what I'm saying? I presented them with options, and I think you're doing the same thing. Now I do get concerned when I see some of the younger women now, empowered women now, who calls grandmama weak. Now I do have a problem with that, you know, with that lady, you know, who's saying that grandmama only took what was presented to her as if to present the idea that not you, and I'm not saying you did that, but I've actually heard women say it out of their mouth. You know, just like people talking about we're not our ancestors. No, you weren't your ancestors. You know, you couldn't have went through what your ancestors went through, and you probably couldn't have went through what grandmama went through. And what you fail to realize is that grandmama raised you to be psychologically independent, whether you know it or not. You know, because sometimes she projected values in you to help you go on and get that education, to go ahead and get that bag, and to get that job at the sacrifice. You know, while she reaching in a sock, pulling out $20 or $30 so you can have gas money to get back to school this week, or she reaching under a mattress and reaching in a coffee can to get her stash to make sure you got grocery money to get through the week. You know what I'm saying? So there was a strength that she didn't advertise, you know what I'm saying? But it didn't mean that it didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of started answering the question that I was going to ask next. And Kim, you can kind of piggyback it because you're raising a daughter just like Tanitria is. And my niece is something else. Lord, she's something else. But she wears her little dresses and she looks cute and all those types of things. So are you, in your opinion, what are some things that you would call ladylike? And those are things that you're teaching Kirsten. Because I ain't gonna lie, you see a lot of these twerking videos. You see a lot of things on social media with the project, people publicizing their bodies. You see women fighting on social media. You see all of these things, and first thing I would want to say is, who is your mother? You know, who raised you? Because if I went out and I saw Mackenzie, you know, that's my baby. If I saw Mackenzie out cussing and acting a fool or starting a fight, and she has my name, I'm probably gonna I'm probably snatch a mud hole in her at that particular point. I don't care, because I know we didn't raise her like that. You know what I'm saying? And I know her mother raised her to be a young lady. You know, so what are some things that you think are ladylike, Kim, if you don't mind me asking?
You know, the Kirsten is 4, and I've never once thought about the term ladylike in raising her. I have thought, you know, I want her to be kind. I want her to, you know, love her siblings. You know, she has my nieces and nephews here. I want her to enjoy life. You know, I'm teaching her just life rules. I've never really thought about anything.
But you know, I ain't trying to be funny. I ain't mean to cut you off, but let me. Yes, I did. Right, but I didn't. I did. I can do that. I can do that
I'm
because
gonna
I'm
talk
10
to
years
him
old.
like that because that's my brother.
And I'm 10 years older than her, so I can do that. So I'm the oldest, so I can do that. But let me just throw this caveat out there for you.
Go ahead.
Oh, can I? Okay, because you're not teaching those things, because you're not teaching that term because that's who you are.
That could be true too. But
you're a lady, and everything about you exudes lady. I know your grandmama. I know your auntie. I'm looking at your face. You look like my mama, and I'm about to be mad right now, but get sad all over. But I know your mama. You know what I'm saying? So I know all ladies. That's just something that's been projected up on you. You
right.
carry yourself a certain way. So no, you don't have to. You know, so you can be a thing without without wearing a sign. You understand what I'm saying? Now there are so many people. Like for instance, the thing you just said. Be kind. You said, what'd you say? Be kind. Be what else? You raising her to be kind.
Yeah.
Love her, love her, be loving.
Siblings, yeah, go to school, do your work. You know, she got homework every night. We do
But
homework.
I know some women who are not young girls that are not kind. One of my homeboys, he's dating a girl in her 20s. Now he's number one, he shouldn't be dating that girl. But do you know she had nerve of calling him a B the other day?
A what?
A B.
Oh,
Out her
nasty.
mouth. She called this 50-year-old man a B.
He got to break up with her.
But I'm saying these young girls are talking to men like this now. They're
Yeah.
not kind, they're mean. It's
Okay.
a mean. I mean, Evans, you about to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add in this before I go. I embrace the terminology of womanhood,
Okay.
meaning I just love women, and not just the concept of women. Meaning, I don't use the word. I have two daughters, 26-year-old and 21-year-old. I never told them to be a lady. I told them to be a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's what God made them. And if God used the term, then I think we ought to embrace it. You can be a refined woman. You can be a woman who has knowledge of the street. You can be a woman who has brilliance and intelligence, and you can be a woman who is not invested in your mind. And I just think all of them are women, but when it comes to being the type of woman that adds to society, and my daughter Laura just okay,
I
my
put it on the screen. I put it on the screen for you right there. I'm gonna ask her: has he raised you to be a young lady, Miss Laura Alexis or Evans, or has he raised you to be a young woman? I want to know. I want to know. I'm joking. I'm joking.
but I just embrace with my two daughters. I've embraced womanhood, and
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily teaching them to act like a lady. I want them to be refined women, Christian, godly women, and I've never used that terminology. I want y'all to be ladies. Um,
Gotcha.
for whatever reasons, I just stuck with the woman.
So do you think the term lady, being ladylike, is a chauvinistic term?
In most instances, you're teaching women how to have manners. Um, but now, what is there for me?
Well, James, when I looked up lady earlier today, it actually meant a mistress. I mean, it depending on what country you're in. And so I was like, I don't really know why anybody would want to even identify with that. Like they don't use it, like that today, but it used to mean that.
Mm.
And going back to your example, James, when you said your friend's woman called him a B,
Mm-hmm.
that's not because she's not a lady. That's because she was rude. It
Well,
has nothing to do with her. You know,
no, I didn't say that. I was saying that in reference to the part about Kim saying that she was raising Kirsten to be kind, to be this, to be yeah. But no, no, she's super rude. She's mean, very mean. I mean, but the thing is, she's not the only person I'm seeing like that. I mean, in a certain demographic, in a certain age group, I'm seeing a lot of them that really talk out of turn. You know what I'm saying? Like real bad to people. You know what I mean? I had one kind of talk out of turn to me. I said, "Whoa!" And I'm the type person that I don't argue with women because I don't want to argue with nobody I can't fight. We can mean so what we arguing for if we can't fight. I'm being that's kind of being facetious, but I mean truth be told, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just so if you hear me say okay, the conversation's over. If I say oh okay, or if I say all right, I'm done, and I probably won't ever talk to you again at that particular point. You know, it just depends on where we are in the relationship and if I've invested enough in it, if I want to continue it. You know what I'm saying? But that's when someone has shown that they can't control their temperament, or when they're but I get it. So I see it. I mean, I don't have an issue because actually, like I said, this whole thought process was sent to me by a young lady, and she was telling me that there was a. I wish I would have gotten her on the show, but she was telling me that there's a difference between being a woman and being a lady. And my stepmom, Kim and I wasn't raised in the same house. My stepmom raised me because my dad raised me. But my stepmom would talk about being a lady, or acting a certain way, a certain type of thing. So when we talk, and when I say about the possibility of it being chauvinistic, I know everybody I used to see use the term were ladies, but I hear you, Tanitra, you're saying that it might have been projected on them by male society, which
Yes.
I can see it either way. I can see it either way. But I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with the term being. I mean, I like the meme though. I think the meme says that being a late. I mean, and that's not to discount or to minimize what being a woman is, in my opinion. It's not. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying that, because when you there's so much that comes along with that's a part of being a woman, and I know they have y'all have a totally different plight than we as men have. So no, so I get it, but I just thought it was an interesting topic when we start. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little surprised at your. I didn't because I those that are listening, I don't know what their answers are gonna be. I just put the stuff, and I mean I don't want to get people on the show that I know what all their answers are gonna be, because that wouldn't. I can just do the show by myself if I do that. So when I bring them in, I want to hear their natural organic answer. So I'm surprised. Kim said they one and the same. I thought, especially being Miss AKA and all that stuff, I thought you would have had a total distinction between. She gonna throw it. I can throw the little pinky up. I understand. I get it. I wish I could throw up a sign, but I ain't never pledged. I ain't want nobody hitting me. I wasn't gonna do it. I couldn't do it. I would have quit about 2 weeks in, a week, 2 days in, or a day later on. I'd have quit. So I'm glad I didn't start. I'm joking. I'm still thinking about doing grad chapter one day. So that's it though. So y'all saying that ladylike, first of all, it's not offensive unless it's used in a wrong context. I get that. But at the end of the day, do you think being a lady and being a woman are pretty much one and the same? That and the rest of it is the lady earlier today said that she thought that was a term that kind of Mae West or somebody back in the day kind of came up with. Act like a lady or whatever. And I guess Mae West, if you start talking about Mae West, Kim, you are talking about a harlot, like a lady of the night or something along those lines. Dang, y'all changed my mind on my own show tonight. Y'all changed my mind on my own show tonight. I'm mad now a little bit. I'm not mad, but I'm a little disturbed about it a little bit though. So yeah.
Don't be disturbed.
Don't be disturbed. I am. I ain't gonna use me lying to go into hell. So no, but I ain't gonna hold y'all up. This has been fun. I wanted to stop right about now anyway. So Tanitra, I appreciate you for coming in. Kim, I appreciate you. And Dr. Evans, we definitely praying for your member, and I hope that all turns well in with that regard. And we get a good report on that real soon. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all see I've kind of started a new format with the show. So we're gonna continue to do this because I got a charge to keep, and I'm gonna make sure I maintain what I'm trying to project, the message I'm trying to project. And so I'm gonna bring different people in. Tonight we had Kim come in. I didn't really give y'all her background, but we did have Tanitra and Dr. Evans in. They're both licensed counselors, so I really appreciate the insight that they have shared on tonight. Kim is a boss, y'all, in Pine Bluff. Y'all that don't know, if y'all kids can't talk or having trouble communicating, she owns a speech therapy clinic, and she's doing free assessments to help them with their language, and that also helps with their confidence. It helps with their communication. So you all should reach out to her. She has virtual programs available where she can help the child online. So but if you want to help your child learn how to communicate better, reach out to my little sister, Kimberly Fox. She's there in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Foxtrot Speech Therapy Clinic. So y'all reach out to her. And I appreciate y'all. Good show tonight. Thanks for good information. Y'all share the thread so people can get the information. And we'll catch up with you next time. As I say, anybody, y'all got any closing words? Anybody?
Enjoy.
Okay. Any more closing words?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
You know you'll be back many times. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, as I always say, the world is changing. My question for you is, why do you remain the same? Y'all have a good night, and I will catch up with you on the rebound.